So I've been getting a lot of comments lately asking what my camera setup is like, specifically for my gameplay. So I thought it'd be a good idea to go over not only what I use to record, but also go over the settings that I use. I want to talk about my accessories and other little details, and hopefully this will help you take better videos. But before we get into that, I just want to quickly introduce myself. Hi, my name's Jeff, or you can call me La Loser. I love rhythm games, and my goal here on YouTube is to get you to love them too. I mainly make videos on Project Sekai, but lately I've been grinding a lot of maimai on the side. So if you're interested in following the progress, feel free to subscribe. Also, I do have a community Discord that you can join by going to this link. We just passed 1,000 members recently, and we're still growing every day. Anyways, let's get back to the video. So some of you are probably wondering, what's the point of filming your gameplay? Like, why bother? Is it a clout thing? Probably. For me personally, I like to watch back my footage to see what areas I'm messing up on certain songs. It's the fastest way to identify issues that are causing me to miss or pick up greats and goods, since it's harder to realize what's going on in the moment while you're playing. So if you're running into issues while you're playing, I do recommend recording it and reviewing it. This also helps you be able to send clips to other players for feedback. Alright, so now let's talk about what I use to film. The most frequent question I get is, how am I filming the POV shots? What am I using and how do I mount it? I'm using the Insta360 Go Ultra. It's classified as an action cam, like the GoPro or the DJI Osmo, but unlike the GoPro, all of this is just a monitor, but the actual camera is here. This tiny little thing is how I record all of my POV shots. And the coolest part is that this is magnetic, so it can stick onto anything that's metal. The camera comes with a magnetic necklace, and then I just put this under my shirt, and the camera will stick on just like that. And since it's just on magnets, I can switch from horizontal to vertical just like that. I do prefer to shoot vertical though, since 99% of the time I'm just uploading to Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube Shorts. And usually vertical is the better option for capturing arcade rhythm games. As for settings, I like to shoot at 4K 48 FPS. Ideally, you want your footage to be at least 60 FPS, but it's possible the camera could overheat after a while. So to be on the safe side, I just leave it at 48. Battery life is probably the only downside to this. I can probably go about 3 credits or about 9 songs before the battery gets to about 15%. Then I'll have to put it back into the pod to charge. I think if your arcade has a line, it'll be fine and you can just charge in between sets. But there's usually no one else playing whenever I go, so I'm pretty much playing 3 to 4 hours uninterrupted. This setup will cost you about $400 US for the camera itself and the memory card. I got a 256GB card and it can store about 4 hours of footage, so that's way more than I'll ever need. Because of its price tag, it's not really something I can easily recommend, especially if you're only concerned about filming maimai videos. So the second method I use to record my videos is using my phone. This is the iPhone 15 Pro Max. This is usually what I switch to when I need to charge my Insta360. And unless you have a friend or something to lean the phone against, you'll need a tripod of sorts. I have this selfie stick tripod by SmallRig. It's really compact, and you can open it up by pressing this button at the bottom. And then you can extend it to whatever length you need. At the top here is where you can mount your phone. It basically clamps down to grab your phone with these rubber grips. And this is pretty much my main setup when I'm filming with my phone. Now, a few accessories that I use since the iPhone 15 and newer, Apple has switched to a USB-C port, so I'll have an external SSD plugged in. So this way, I'm not actually filling up my phone's memory with all these video clips. Instead, it's being saved onto here. Another accessory I recommend getting is a power bank to charge your phone. When you're filming for long periods of time, especially at 4K 60 FPS, it does drain your battery really fast. And most arcades don't really like you plugging in anything into their outlets, so I usually keep 1 or 2 power banks on me just in case. This one I have is about 58,000 megawatt hours, whatever that means. I just know that this power bank alone can charge my phone about 3 to 4 times from 0 to 100%. Now, if you want to record to an SSD and charge your phone at the same time, you can get a USB dongle. I have this one. It's also from SmallRig, and it's about $30. And it just lets me plug everything into my phone all at once. It has 4 USB ports and it just plugs straight into the phone. Personally, I don't really think you need the dongle. You can probably just recharge your phone in between sets if there's a line in your arcade, but this option is available if you need it. Now let's quickly go over the settings I use while recording. First and foremost, I like to use the Blackmagic camera app instead of the normal camera app. It's a free app that you can download from the App Store, and it gives you way more control over settings compared to the default camera app. The first thing I like to do is make sure the FPS is set to 60. This makes the footage more smooth when you're watching the playback. Next on the bottom left is information about your storage. If you tap on that, it'll take you to the menu to choose where to save your clips. I'm going to select Files, tap Browse at the bottom, and near the top you should see your SSD. Alternatively, you can also just save it onto your phone if you're not worried about storage space. And then tap Open at the top. Now at the bottom, tap on Camera and you should see your storage has been updated. The time at the top shows you how much time you can record for. So with the available space in my SSD, I can actually record for hours. Now a few more settings I want to go over. For codec, I like to use HEVC or H.265. This will make your file sizes a lot smaller. And for bitrate, I like to keep it at max. But if you're really looking to push efficiency, you can lower this down to high or even medium. Resolution should be 4K. Again, if you're struggling for space, you can drop it down to HD, which is basically 1080p. But I only recommend doing that if you're really desperate for space. Otherwise, 4K is pretty much the standard these days. Color space, make sure to set it to Rec 709. And then scrolling down to camera settings, make sure vertical video is enabled. Again, this is a good spot to mention that 99% of the time I record vertically. Very rarely do I shoot horizontal, so the majority of this video will be vertically focused. But you can totally apply all these settings to a horizontal workflow. The last thing I want to go over is the audio settings. For audio source, make sure it's set to iPhone microphone, and under that are the different microphones you can choose from. This setting is really important if you want to help isolate the machine's audio from your surroundings. So if you have the audio set to the front microphone, and there's people standing behind you or behind the camera, it picks up their audio pretty clearly. Okay, so here's me standing behind the phone with the front audio enabled. But switching to the back microphone, audio from behind the camera gets muffled out, and you only hear what's happening in front of the camera. Okay, so this is me talking right behind the camera, right behind the phone. And that's pretty much the settings I wanted to go over. Everything else you can just leave as the default. So once you're ready to record, I like to long press on the screen, and this will lock the focus and exposure. This makes it so if anything goes in front of the camera, like your hand, the camera won't try to focus on that, and it'll just stay locked onto the screen. Same thing with lighting. If the screen goes super dark or the cabinet gets super bright, the camera will stay consistent and won't try to compensate and change the lighting. Usually I set the focus to anywhere on the screen, and once you've got that set, go ahead and hit the big red button at the bottom. This will start recording, and on the bottom left, you can see that this bar goes red, and the time will update to show you how much time you have left in your storage. And once you're done recording, you can tap on this media button at the bottom, and this is where you can view all the clips that you've taken. So now that we've gone over camera settings, I want to focus on something else that's equally as important, and that's camera placement. Starting with the height. I've seen people setting up their cameras from a low angle, which isn't horrible, but the main issue is that your arms block most of the screen. I have my phone set at the same height as the bottom buttons here, and as you can see, it's not really a flattering angle. Moving the phone up to about the middle of the screen is slightly better, but again, my arms are still blocking some of the screen, but this is usable. Personally, I think the best angle is to set the height equal to the top buttons or higher. This gets your arms out of the way of the camera for majority of the shots. And as for positioning, aligning with the center of the cab, I've seen people set their tripod all the way up against the machine, which isn't bad. I mean, it's usable, but you do occasionally get screen blocked by your hands whenever you hit the top buttons. I think the best position is about 2 to 3 feet away from the cab. Wait, what is that in metric? 0.000914 kilometers. That's how far away your phone should be from the cabinet. Or for a visual reference, if your machine has one, it should be at the end of the maimai floor mat. Some people will position their cameras outside of the mat, which isn't ideal in my opinion. Like, it works, but your body starts to block some of the screen, and your tripod can start blocking people behind you that are trying to walk by. Anyways, that's pretty much how I record my videos for maimai. So hopefully this video answers a lot of the questions that I've been getting. If you have a different setup that you prefer, let me know about it in a comment down below, as well as if you have any follow-up questions. Alternatively, feel free to join my community Discord and ask questions there. Myself or other members will be more than happy to answer them. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.